Figure. All right. So we're gonna get started with this quiz. Okay. So just a reminder, this is how the quiz is gonna work. After this live, you will be able to find this probably by Friday. This live will be posted to the YouTube channel. Okay. If you're not familiar with my YouTube channel, you can just go to the link in my bio. It says subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's super easy. All right. The way this quiz is going to work, we're going to do this quiz live. The first 5 questions, and there is a bonus question, you're going to write down. You're going to put it in your notes app. You're just going to think about it. This is not real. Okay? This is not real. In case y'all didn't know that. And then the last 5 questions plus a bonus question, I will open up for a panel. Now, I want to be clear. The panel is specific to just people who want to answer the question. This is not an opportunity for you to talk again about the documentary. This is only specific to you answering the question. Got it? I do have a husband. What does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, so I have the answers here on the left. After this live, I will post. So you know I have this living, breathing document on my link tree. It's the first button on my link tree. When we're done with this live, I will post the quiz questions to that document so that you can have the questions moving forward. I don't know who asked that and why they asked that. I don't know. All right, y'all ready? Can I get a yes? We ready? You ready? Hey, Mama Jen. Mama Jen, I did not forget about the question you asked me. My life is just una vida loca. Okay, we're ready. All right. These are the first... I done fucked up. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. These are the first 5 questions. Question number 1. What is the Southern strategy? Again, this is for African American Studies Study Group. This quiz is on the documentary 13th by Ava DuVernay. It's okay, Nick. You're good. We just got started. Yes, you're welcome here, Mama Jen. All right, first question. What is the Southern strategy? I'm hoping that y'all are not going to Google this. I hope that you watched the documentary and you took notes because this is a study group, right? Okay. All right. What is the Southern strategy? I don't think that's a sufficient answer, Tessa. I would, there's another word that's part of this, or another term that's a part of this quiz that I think that answer would be better suited for. But okay. Question number 2. What does ALEC stand for? ALEC. What does ALEC stand for? And I am going to give you the answers after I read the questions. Just for the first 5, though. Okay? Well, plus the bonus question. Question number 1, what is the Southern strategy? Question number 2, what does ALEC stand for? Yes. I don't know how to pronounce your first name, but the last name is Bernard. Good job. Please do not put answers in before I read the question. Thank you. All right. Question number 3. After the movie The Birth of a Nation was released, what iconography became part of the 3Ks ritual in real life? Somebody already posted the answer. Hey, Fee. After the movie The Birth of a Nation was released, what iconography became part of the 3Ks ritual in real life? Okay. Question number 4. What war is President Nixon famous for starting and President Reagan famous for popularizing? Yes. I don't know if I can read that word, but yes, that burning is the right answer to number 3. And y'all had the answer to number 2 correct as well. The Cold War is incorrect. The Cold War, good thing this is not real. Nope, not the Vietnam War. Did y'all watch the documentary? Or no? Every time you see me bite this, I'm going to be upset about it. Okay? I got to get the protein. I'm gonna get back in the gym. The Southern strategy convinced. Okay. Sharon looks like she has the answer for number one. The Southern strategy convinced poor whites to move to Republican Party by pitting whites against blacks. That's the first correct answer for number one I've seen. Yes, Nick, the war on that stuff you're not supposed to take. drugs. That is the answer. Built puff protein bar. I'm writing y'all suggestions down because I'm gonna figure this thing called life out. Do I need to block you, Gaskins? Your energy is uncomfortable, and I'm not here for that right now. No, you're right. You're okay, Nick. I understood. Okay, so the answer to number one, what is the Southern strategy, is posted in the comments. What does ALEC stand for is posted in the comments. After the movie The Birth of a Nation was released, what iconography became part of the 3Ks ritual? The cross that burns. There, we'll say it like that. What slogan was number five? I'm sorry. What slogan was First Lady Nancy Reagan's famous? Well, I can't talk. What slogan was First Lady Nancy Reagan famous for promoting? Just say no. I'm an 80s baby. I will know that slogan till the day I die. Yeah. Just say no. I don't know why it's blocking you, Jen. There you go. That is the correct answer. All right. Bonus question. What song does rapper Tupac Shakur reference in the war? Why I can't talk? I can't read. What song by rapper Tupac Shakur references the war President Nixon is famous for? I put Nixon, but it's really Nixon and Reagan. Yes, the image. This is your brain on. Changes. Yes. Awesome. Okay. So we're just going to recap and then we're going to go to the next question. Okay. Which I don't know how to. I'm going to have to figure that out. So what is the Southern strategy? The Southern strategy was a campaign strategy of the Republican Party pursued from the 1960s that initially sought to increase and preserve support from white voters in the South by subtly endorsing racial segregation, racial discrimination, and the disenfranchisement of black voters. Okay, that's the answer to number one. Number two, what does ALEC stand for? ALEC stands for American Legislative Exchange Council. All right. Question number three, after the movie The Birth of a Nation was released, what iconography became part of the Triple K ritual in real life? The cross that is burning. What war is President Nixon famous for starting, but President Reagan famous for popularizing? That would be the war on drugs. Excuse me. Question number five. What slogan was First Lady Nancy Reagan famous for promoting? The answer is just say no. There is a PBS special. Bonus question. What song by rapper Tupac Shakur references the war that President Nixon was famous for? Obviously, we answered that question already, but it's actually President Nixon and President Reagan. Okay? So we answered those questions. How do I... I have more questions, but how do I post them? I want to change this image, and I'm not sure how to do that. Bear with me. Settings, comments, activities. I'm gonna pause. I might just have to read y'all. Okay, it went away. Does anybody know how to put a different image up? Enhance stickers. Let's see. No. I just thought I could switch it out, but it doesn't look like that's an option. Live events, activities. Pause, flip camera. I might just have to read the questions to y'all because I don't know. Again, the questions will be listed on the document that's in my link tree. Okay, just that's so weird. I just feel like it's something I don't know, and not that it doesn't exist. Enhance background. Maybe I can change the background to it. It's loading. Let's see. Okay. While that's doing that, question number 6. I don't think that's working. What parallels can be made between... Okay, so this question, you're welcome to join the group. You're welcome to come on the panel and answer it. Listen, if you're answering it, just answer that question. That's it. Okay? What parallels can be made between President Woodrow Wilson and President Donald Trump? When you respond, make sure to keep your language appropriate for the app. You're welcome. You can ask to join the live, or you can just type in your answer. What parallels can be made between President Woodrow Wilson and President Donald Trump? Anybody? Again, what parallels can be made between President Woodrow Wilson and President Donald Trump? A level 2 quest. No answers? Okay. I'm going to move on to the question number 6. Tessa, do I need to block you? Because what do you mean by that? You don't see the link? It should be right next to comments. But I can invite you. There, I sent you an invite, Mama Jen. What did you mean by that, Tessa? Hey, Mama Jen, you wanted to answer question number 6?
No, I just was saying I couldn't. The link wasn't showing up, so I don't know if anybody else can see the link, but I couldn't see the link. I was like, maybe that's why nobody's wanting to answer.
Got you. I don't know why, but thank you for letting me know.
You're welcome. I think for me, the big parallel between the two is they both were a little more outspoken in their dislike of people that weren't like them, compared to a lot of presidents that were more covert in their actions and almost I don't want to say devious, but backhanded with some of the legislation that they passed and everything. I feel like Wilson and the other president are both very outright and outspoken in their dislike for people who are not exactly like them.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's an acceptable answer. I would accept that. So the answer I wrote down was that both use the power of the office of the president to sow seeds and fan the flames of dissension and racism. So yeah, I absolutely agree. I see some people are agreeing with you in the comments. Thank you, Mama Jen. I appreciate you. I'm going to disconnect, okay?
Thank you. Yes.
All right. So apparently y'all can't see the link. It's okay. Let me know that you want to answer the question and I'll just invite you. I don't know why my live is being weird today. Okay, so question number 7. Describe what the 3 strikes law is and how it advanced the rate of incarceration in the United States. Describe what the 3 strikes law is and how it advanced the rate of incarceration in the United States. Remember to please keep your language appropriate for the app. Let me know if anybody would like to answer that question on live. And I will send you an invite. I like eat this nasty ass bar. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Would anybody like to answer that question? Describe what the 3 strikes law is and how it advanced the rate of incarceration in the United States. Okay. Somebody found it. I see you. Nick, I'm sorry. Nick, how did you find the link to join?
So that I will explain. The little
Please.
people, the pink and blue people, are down by the comments, but some people are used to seeing the little join button beside the comments. Does that make sense?
Got you. Yes.
And the
Okay.
little join is not there. They're not used to using the pink and blue people.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much for explaining. So you have an answer for describing what the three strikes law is and how it advanced the rate of incarceration in the United States.
Yes.
Okay.
So it didn't. How do I keep this TikTok friendly? That is a
It will take
challenge.
effort.
Wording. Yes. So it put people that are considered a minority that are not minorities mostly into a very harsh sentencing
Okay.
for minor discrepancies. And those minor discrepancies would lead to 3 or more times of having bad. I'm going to use the word bad for TikTok, not real bad, but society says bad. I don't agree with them, but I digress. Bad behaviors in public. There we go. That would get you 3 or more timeouts, and those timeouts would not be revoked. You can't say, we don't care what your timeout was for. Your timeout is 3, and you can't change it back for anything. And then you are stuck in the playpen. There we go. For the rest
doing a
of
great
your
job.
grown times. For the rest of your grown times.
You're doing a great job. Thank you so much, Nick. So I think you gave a really great answer, and I want to encourage y'all. This is in your own words, right? Like I'm not looking for the textbook answer or specifically the answer that the documentary gave, but what your takeaway was. So absolutely, I think you're spot on. While you're on the call, the call, this is not a Zoom. While you're on the live, I do want to read to you the answer that I have. That is just how I start. Thanks, Nick. How I would answer this question for me. Okay. So again, the question is describe what the three strikes law is and how it advanced the rate of incarceration in the U.S. And a lot of people have answered the question. Nick, you answered it. The three strikes law is a criminal sentencing law that increases the punishment for people who are convicted of multiple felonies. The law is intended to protect the public from repeat offenders by imprisoning longer prison sentences. However, in the context of this documentary, felonies became a specific type of DRUGS and not another one. And also the requirements were lowered so that you could get a felony easier, right? Which disproportionately impacted Black and brown communities. That would be the answer to that question. But yeah, I see some people say three stroke law, basically saying you have 2 times to commit. Well, not just a crime, but specific to DRUGS. But yeah. Okay. I see somebody is wanting to answer a question, but I'm only accepting one person per question. Okay. So I hope you stay and you can answer this next question. Why is the language used in the media important when reporting on Black and brown people? Please discuss terms like super predator. Why is the language used in the media important when reporting on Black and brown people? Please use terms like super predator in your answer.
Hey there. It
What's
reinforces.
your name? Well,
Oh,
what's
I'm
your
sorry.
name?
Hey, Jocelyn.
Rosalind or Jocelyn?
Jocelyn with a
Jocelyn.
J.
Hi, Jocelyn. All right.
Hello. Thanks for doing this. It's really cool.
Thank you.
I always think of Miley Cyrus when I say really cool. This is really cool. So it further increases stigmatisms of stigma, not stigmatism, but stigma around certain concepts, ideologies around people of color. And it forces people to have a false narrative around those people of color. And it also has a negative impact because it gives people in blue a societal permission to treat those people of color a particular way because they've been labeled as such. And it also dehumanizes us, which makes certain people in blue and even some people in just positions of any power or authority, whether that be a doctor, a teacher, whomever, to treat us less than because we have these labels that have been put on us. So the media does play a very vital part in how the world sees us and supports their narrative.
Absolutely. You answered this question perfectly. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Jocelyn.
Yay! Sticker for me. Okay, bye.
Bye. I saw so Jocelyn answered correctly, and I see Shelby also said the intent is to dehumanize, right? And yeah, so in the documentary, they talk about this idea that the criminalization of Black and brown bodies is disproportionate to what actually occurs, right? And so you see the introduction of television shows like Cops, where almost every night on television you get to watch a Black or brown person be arrested for some type of violation connected to DRUGS, to the extent where we have a term in our community called a wife beater, because that is what that is what the shirt that everybody was wearing when they was getting arrested for beating their wife, right? And so there's this idea that this perception that is purported by the media greatly skews what is the real issue or what a real danger that Black people impose to our country. So yeah, I think that was a great answer. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. All right, we're getting close to the end of the quiz. That's why I said I don't think we need 2 hours. And we're only 30 minutes in. So the question number 9. Hey, mermaid. Hey, sweetie. Question number 9. What is the 13th Amendment and what is its exception? Yes, that is where that term came from. You learn something new every day, huh? That's why you need to listen to Black women, because we be knowing. What is the 13th Amendment and what is its exception? So you're welcome to, I'm only taking one person per answer. One person per answer. I mean, one person per question, rather. So where the comments are, there's a button that says guests. It's red and pink and blue. And you just tap that and you can answer the question. Would anybody like to answer that? What is the 13th Amendment and what is its exception? Nobody knows? The name of the documentary is 13th. I'm listening and I'm judging. I'm judging you. You're judged. Nobody knows what the third. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. Give it a sec. Hi, Steph.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for letting me join.
Sure. You have an answer for us? What is the 13th Amendment and what is its exception?
Prisoners, by putting people in the prison and making them felons, it removes their abilities to vote in most instances and takes them out of the population for being able to be contributing to public, but it's the basic Jim Crow.
Okay, so that's
the
the
new
exception.
Jim Crow, basically.
I agree. That's the exception. What is the 13th Amendment itself?
Oh God, I forgot.
It's okay. You answered. So on this quiz, you would get half the credit. And so what I failed to mention, stay with me, Steph, don't leave, okay?
Okay.
What I failed to mention in the beginning is how this will be graded. Again, I'm not a real teacher. This is not real. I am not grading any papers or exams, okay? Okay, this is the only thing real about this is the learning. Okay. Questions 1 through 5 are worth 5 points. Questions 6 through 10 are worth 15 points. And all bonus questions are worth 13 points. Now, you keep up with whether or not you got it right. I am not involved in that, okay? But so these questions 6 through 10 are worth 15 points. So if you get one of these wrong, you're already at a 75. Not a 75. I can't. 85. I'm sorry. So just keep that in mind, okay? So you would get, for this, you would get 7.5 points for just answering that what the exception is, okay? But again, this is not real. I am not a professor, and do with this information with you what you will, okay?
All
Thank you
right.
so much, Steph. I appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. I have somebody else in the waiting room. I will create a certificate. Hi, Shelby.
Good evening.
Good evening. So you have an answer for what is the 13th Amendment?
It's the abolishment of slavery, with the exception being if you are imprisoned due to conviction of a crime.
Perfect. That is the correct answer. Did you have anything you wanted to add? Because that's really the whole answer.
My state actually went a step further this year and put into its constitution that even even conviction of a crime is not an exception.
What state is that?
Nevada.
Oh, I need to look into that.
So it was on the ballot this fall and it passed.
Wow. That's so interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that, Shelby.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a good night. Stay for the rest of the quiz.
I will.
All right. Okay, so just to recap, the 13th Amendment, to the United States Constitution abolished slavery and involuntary servitude in the U.S., except as punishment to a crime. And so the documentary goes into depth about what that looks like for those prisoners, right? And so a lot of that is just, again, allowing this pipeline of prisoners to become Black bodies that do labor and do it close to free. So like you would have to work a day and a half to be able to afford a 10-minute phone call, right? And it's all privatized. So everybody is making a buck. And so there is even somebody on the documentary that says, well, if I do this and that for you, for the prison system, you don't mind me making a buck. And the reality is they're making millions. They're not making a buck. All right. Yes. So question number 10. This is the last question, and then we have a bonus. So again, bonus questions are worth 3 points. Why does this help you? Because if you get any question from 1 through 5 wrong, you can get right back up there. If you get a question from 6 to 10 wrong, you would need to get both bonus questions right to even help you with 1 through 6. I'm sorry, 6 through 10. All right. Last, number 10. In detail, explain what your biggest takeaways were from this documentary. In detail, explain what your biggest takeaways were from this documentary. All right. Thank you for the love. I appreciate the taps. Please make sure you tap it. I would love to get to 15K before we finish. In detail, explain what your biggest takeaway was from the documentary. All right. I'm looking for anybody who wants to join the live to explain what their takeaway was for the documentary. Now, this particular question, I will take at least 3 people because it's so specific to what your takeaway is. And I'm willing to accept somebody who has already spoken. And Mama Jen, I have to say, every advancement that I have made in this process has been because somebody asked. Like, I made one video and people were like, are you going to make a Google Doc? So I made a Google Doc. And then people were like, well, are you going to do a live so we can talk about it? And so I went live. And then I did the live and people were like, are you going to post a live to YouTube? Because I couldn't join the live. So then I learned how to post to YouTube. I'm learning how, this is a real time. Okay. Everything that I have done in the last 2 weeks, I have learned in real time. So I appreciate all of y'all challenging me to be a better, more well-equipped version of myself. Sincerely. Okay. I have somebody who would like to answer. Mama Jen. Okay, just reminding everybody what the question is. In detail, explain what your biggest takeaways were from the documentary. Go ahead, Mama.
All right, thanks. Sorry, my dogs decided to use this moment to be
It's
jerks.
fine. I know how dogs are.
First, before I get into that, I just want to tell you thank you. The I'm only here because a Black woman decided to be honest with me. And it really made me have to stop and take a look at myself. And knowing that you're here and you're willing to teach us and give us the support that we need, even though we don't deserve it and haven't really earned it, is huge. So thank you very much for being here. Shameless plug, if you haven't already, you can go to Brandy's link and you can see all kinds of ways to thank her for things. So I'm going to put that out there because I can. But what I took away from this was how over and over and over again, society has set Black people and specifically Black men up to fail. There has been overwhelmingly every step of the way that we pretended was progress was in some way, shape, or form still holding Black people and Black men in particular down. You know, we freed slaves, but you still couldn't afford to own land or didn't have the right to own land. So you still had to work. And if you didn't work hard enough, then you could go to prison, right? Because you weren't paying off your bills, even though the bills were way more than the money that you could make. If if you lived in an impoverished neighborhood and you needed to feed your family, and so you took means to feed your family that were offered to you, then that was criminalized. If you looked at somebody wrong, if you walked down the wrong street, if you did any of those things, then that could be criminalized. And then you faced harsher prison sentences, mandatory sentencing. It became, you get this mandatory life sentencing for using rock salt. And to me, that's just like over and over and over again in the name of making life better, making the world a better place. What we did was set this entire population of people up to fail. And to me, it over and over again, it was just like, let's put a Band-Aid on this and pretend we're fixing the problem when what we're really doing is sealing in this infection. I'm medical, sorry guys, but we're sealing in this infection and allowing the wound to continue to fester so that we don't have to actually face what we did and make the world a better place or make repercussions for our actions.
Whew, absolutely, Jen. I'm glad those are your takeaways. There isn't really a wrong way to answer this particular question unless you don't have an answer because you didn't watch it. But yeah, I think this is a great answer. Thank you so much, Jen. So I do want to add some things. When you talked about freeing enslaved people and things like that, I want to acknowledge your use of we, because to me that communicates ownership, and I appreciate that. Okay. There is no such thing as the first something. And what do I mean by that? Jackie Robinson was not the first Black man to play in the MLB. I don't know what the fuck that's called, but okay. Jay Robinson, Jamie, I'm fucking up people's names, but the Black woman, Mae Jemison, was not the first Black woman to be an astronaut. These are the first Black people that were allowed. And I think that word brings context because by definition, what that means is somebody was keeping access from you. People were intentionally keeping access from you, right? And so certainly Jackie Robinson wasn't the first capable. Mae Jemison wasn't the first capable. They're just the first people who y'all let in. And so it speaks to this idea that there's a boys' club, or that liberty and freedom truly has not existed for Black people in this country. And then when you started talking about like freeing enslaved people and then keeping jobs away from them, and then we talked about this, I think, on another live about loitering. If you haven't heard me have this conversation, basically the term loitering came from enslaving Black people who didn't have a job after the Emancipation Proclamation. So like Black people were enslaved, and then you free them, and then they don't have skill sets outside of labor. And so they made it illegal. They criminalized being Black, right? So they criminalized being outside without a job. That's what loitering is being outside of a place of business without business. And so they made that every business you've ever been to has a loitering sign. The connection to that is slavery, right? Um, the way that the U.S. conducts policing is connected to slavery. All of it, everything you know is a lie, is connected to slavery. And so it made me think of redlining, because when you were talking, Jen, and you brought up we don't have access to job at the time. We didn't have access to jobs. Everything was we keep everything that we do keeps getting criminalized. Then you finally pull yourself up by the bootstraps. You save enough money against all odds. Also, Tupac plug, to better yourself and save money. And you go to buy a house, and they tell you the house costs more than what your white counterpart is paying, or the interest rate is higher, so now you can't afford the mortgage. Like, at every turn, Black people have still been resilient and risen above, but it's all been bullshit. It is bullshit. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. All right, I have another person who would like to answer the question. Hi, Shelby.
Hi. Can you repeat the question?
Yes. In detail, explain what your biggest takeaways were from this documentary.
That the United States government will always use whatever means they have to capitalize on minority work for the cheapest possible amount.
Okay. The U.S. government will use whatever means they can. Say it again. To profit
On
Black
minority
labor,
labor.
basically. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Kate.
So,
Okay, I'm sorry. I got distracted. Go ahead.
so it started with slavery, right? And the whole Civil War. And then it looked like we did better, but we didn't do better. And that was very clear by what was written into the 13th Amendment. How can we get free labor from people who we can put in jail? And how can we continually invent laws to criminalize behaviors to keep them there? And you can relate it to today, how we use immigrant labor to do a ton of work for this country. And now they're looking at, I don't know if you've seen Mississippi House Bill 1484. So that's the request to start a bounty hunter program, and that any illegal immigrant found in that state can and will be imprisoned for life without the possibility of parole. For what? Right? But if you're going to imprison them in the state, for what purpose? And I don't think that exactly.
Yeah.
And so while it's just a continuation of the cycle.
Absolutely.
And it always goes back to the money.
They say it in almost every movie, right? If you want to know the answer to something, all you got to do is follow the money. I mean, it reigns true across the board. So thank you. I appreciate your contribution, Shelby.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Somebody was asking what documentary. The documentary is 13th by Ava DuVernay. Here is the last bonus question. The last bonus question. Oh, I have one more. I'm gonna let one more person answer the question. The number 10, which is in detail, explain what your biggest takeaway was from the documentary. And then we're gonna get to the last question. Hi, Jocelyn.
Hello. Thank you. That was an awesome documentary. And I didn't realize that's what the one you were all talking about. But before I answer that question, I wanted just to say this, which I learned. I live in Alabama. I'm not from here. I do have many, many roots here. I'm from my father's side, but I'm not from here. I just live here. But they allow inmates to work at McDonald's and Wendy's during the week or whatever, and they come right back to the jail. But they won't approve them to have, they won't approve their appeals. And they are not allowed to reject the work or say that they're tired or whatever, they get penalized for saying, hey, I already did a shift today. I don't want to do another shift. They make them do double shifts, what have you. They do earn the right to, because they're in this program, they are allowed to visit their family on like I think a 72-hour release because they're part of that program. But in order to be a part of that program, you have to work when you're told to, no matter what. Some of the penalties also can be solitary confinement as well. So that's just my side note for that part. But as far as the documentary is concerned, what I learned and took away from the most was how our corporations really run our government. And it has been even more evident if you saw the first row of the inauguration, where the most influential and richest people in America were on the first row, and the second row was the cabinet. So I learned that the lobbyists are given huge binders of suggestions on how they should write laws, what laws should pass. And a lot of those laws, of course, benefit those corporations. So it helped me to see that a lot of our laws are made to protect or to support corporations versus keeping society healthy and wealthy and wise. It's for the corporations, not for us.
Wow. I think that's a great takeaway. The formation of ALEC was really eye opening to me. I always knew the way lobbying worked, but I didn't realize how integral these billion-dollar corporations were in creating laws that benefited them. And it felt so disingenuous because it's like, how are you both, the government and the corporations, in a room making decisions that impact the regular person, and there's no oversight committee? There's no person in this room that has
Right.
the just, in any board, you would have people who represent different interests. And it just felt so bombastic to me. Like I was like, how is this legal? But a lot of it is because you don't know about it. You can't fight it.
Right.
So I was just really grateful to Ava DuVernay for putting this together and telling a story. That I appreciate that. And then also I was unaware about that type of program. And I think that's wild because it absolutely takes advantage of those prisoners. Because if you want to see your family, you'll put up with anything, right? Whether it's legal or not, or whether it's right or not. And the idea of being able to get out for any amount of time, I would imagine sounds good to somebody who's incarcerated.
Right.
So yeah, thank you for, I have to tell y'all, I know I'm doing this quiz and I know I'm giving y'all notes, but I am learning so much from you all. And I really appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the engagement, the follows, the shares, the likes, the comments. It really got me on a little world spin right now, but I really do genuinely appreciate you all. Thank you so much, Jocelyn.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. So the last bonus question. And y'all can just type this answer in. Thank you for the taps. Thank you for the taps. Everybody said ALEC was the biggest surprise to her. Oh, I didn't know that. Also, did y'all notice? Okay, Ava DuVernay is not on TikTok, but she has a company called Array. I like giving accurate information. I don't like talking out the side of my ass. Hold on. I was going to make some content about this. I probably still will. Ava DuVernay. Okay. Array now, ARRAY, was founded in 2011 by filmmaker Ava DuVernay. Array is a Peabody Award-winning arts and social impact collective dedicated to narrative change. Okay, so this is the company that Ava DuVernay started. Did you notice that Array commented on my video? I saw it and I was like, that looks like an organization. Let me go look who they are. And when I went to their page and it said the closest thing you're gonna get to Ava DuVernay on TikTok, I almost, man, I said, did Ava DuVernay just like this post? Did Ava DuVernay just like this post? I haven't processed it yet, but that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. Bonus question. That is awesome. Yes, please close peg. Go watch the documentary. Fair warning, when I did the discussion, I did have trigger warning because the imagery for I'm gonna say for Black people ain't nothing new, to be quite honest. But I feel like some people may be triggered by the imagery, so fair warning. Okay, thank you. All right, last question, and we're gonna wrap it up by 10 o'clock. Okay, that's cute. 9 to 10. What 3-word term is the documentary discussing? Interestingly enough, when we had our live discussion about the documentary, I mentioned that I never heard this term mentioned in the documentary, but absolutely this term is what the documentary is about. A hint is the last word of this term is complex. What 3-word term is the documentary discussing with us? Y'all can just type it in the chat. I'm waiting. We talked about it in our live. And if you haven't seen the live, you're welcome to go to my YouTube channel. Go to the link in my bio and click subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll see the information there for the live. And if you just want information on Dr. Barlow's class, you can tap the first button. Y'all got it. You can tap the first button to get the notes in the syllabus. Yes, the prison industrial complex. Yes, y'all been paying attention. The documentary is only about the prison industrial complex. Now, while the documentary does give us backstory to how we got here, and it tells a story through what the prison population was, and like this, I think it starts in the 60s or 70s and goes all the way up to 2011 or 2014, maybe 2020. It is about the industrial complex, the prison industrial complex. Absolutely. Yes. All right. So I feel like we get A's over here. And I'm going to give everybody an A. Okay? Everybody got an A. You're welcome. I will definitely post. Somebody asked for a certificate. I will definitely post a certificate just because it's funny. Just because this is not real. There's a 30-minute discussion between Ava DuVernay and Oprah about the documentary. Oh, I'll definitely watch that. Thank you. Yes, we get A's over here. Okay? We get A's. You see me? I graduated. Magna cum laude. We get A's over here. All right. That's all I got. Y'all did a great job answering these questions. Again, some information for you. The link in my bio, the first button, will have one document that is inclusive of the syllabus up to 6 weeks for Dr. Barlow's class, her reading recommendations so far, and by tomorrow it will include the notes that I took from her mini lecture that is posted. All of the whole document includes links, right? So if it's talking about the revolution will not be televised, there's a link to that YouTube video. If it's talking about anything you can read that I could find for free, I put the link for that information in the document. All you got to do is the work. Okay. I also included the links to the YouTube videos of our lives where we talked about everything. Okay. This quiz will be listed in that document by tomorrow. When I'm done with this, I'm going to make a video that just reads out the questions so that people can save. I know I'm really a lot better with videos than I am reading content. Even when I'm reading books, I prefer to listen. So I will make a video reading these questions out in case you want to save it and put it in your favorites. A reminder, I have 2 separate playlists, okay? One list is AA studies, assignments, and one is AA studies updates. That way, when you wake up Thursday and you're like, oh, I haven't heard anything from Brandy, she's not been on my timeline, you can just go to my page and go to updates and see what live is coming up, what information is coming up. And then if Dr. Barlow has posted anything with notes that requires notes or work, it will be under assignments. And so it's separate and you don't feel overwhelmed, okay? If you would like to donate to me because you appreciate this work, it's not here on the screen anymore, but my Venmo is my name, Brandihelena, okay? My Cash App is Brandihelena with the S at the end. Also, fair warning, I'm going to say that again. My Venmo is Brandihelena, which is my handle, okay? My Cash App is Brandihelena with the S, if you would like to bless the kid. No pressure, but it is appreciated. This does take a lot of effort and time. There is somebody masquerading as me, okay? Their handle is Brandihelena's _. That's not me. I don't have no relation to that person. I have reported it and TikTok denied it. So if they inbox you asking you where you at, like they be asking weird questions, report it and block it so you don't get caught up in being scammed, okay? Because that is not me. I'm not inboxing anybody. I actually only respond to inboxes. That's not me. That's not me. Yeah, it happens. It happens. No worries. Also, I'm thinking about making a sweatshirt that says we get A's over here. What y'all think about that? Because I have an Etsy store. I make t-shirts and sweatshirts and bookmarks and things like that. Don't ask me that. Don't ask me when my next live is going to be. I plan my life 48 hours in advance. That's it. Good night, Green Thumb. 48 hours in advance. Okay. We're lucky I got this far. Okay. I'll make a shirt. I'll start with a sweatshirt and then I'll follow up with a t-shirt because it's still a little cold. I don't know when my next live is going to be. So to be transparent, everything that I have posted already, I think is sufficient. Dr. Barlow hasn't provided an additional mini lecture. And so the last 3 weeks, we're on week 3. This is week 3. So next week is week 4. And the syllabus is slightly unclear to me. She says things like, oh, we're going to go over Sula, or we're going to go over excerpts from X, Y, and Z, but we don't have the knowledge of what excerpt she's talking about, like page this to that, right? And so on the syllabus, let me see, I think I have it here. I don't have it there. Give me a second. On the syllabus, bear with the kid. Google Docs. I probably could have just went to my link tree while I'm being difficult. Give me a second. Okay. So week 3 was about documentary 13, and that's what we just finished. So week 4 says lecture on Ebony Magazine and For Us By Us Media. I don't know what specific article or that Dr. Barlow was talking about, or if she's talking about the idea of Ebony Magazine and For Us By Us Media. I couldn't find anything about that. So like I'm waiting for the shoe to drop and then I'll do the work. Okay. So as soon as I figure it out, just check my updates. Check for the updates on the playlist and then we'll be good to go. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night. And I'm so proud of you all for getting A's on your quiz.